Hello, everybody. I am Viviana, and today I will be discussing a poem from Nicole Seeley's Ordinary Beast. It is her collection of poetry built on wonderful imagery. She likes to use Greek mythology and just so many other descriptions that could go into her amazing writing. Now, unfortunately, in this day and age, I do not have the physical copy of the book, but I do have my Kindle, so we will be reading from that. So here we go. Imagine Sisyphus happy. Give me tonight to be inconsolable, so the death drive does not declare itself. So the moonlight does not convince sunrise. I was born before sunrise. When morning masquerades as night, the temperature of blood quivering like a mouth in morning. How do we author our gentle birth? The height we were. Were we gods rolling stars across a sundock sky, the same as scarabs? We fit somewhere between god and mineral, angel and animal, believing a thing as sacred as the sun rises and falls like an ordinary beast. Deer sniff lifeless fawns before leaving. Elephants encircle the skulls and tusks. Dead, none wanting to leave the bones behind, none knowing their leave will lessen the loss. But birds pluck their own feathers, dogs lick themselves to wound. Allow me this luxury. Give me tonight to cut and salt the open. Give me a shovel to uproot the mandrake and listen for its scream. Give me a face that toils so closely with stone, it is itself stone. I promise to enter the flesh again. I promise to circle to ascend. I promise to be happy tomorrow. Such a powerful poem. So it is a bit of a long one. So we are going to discuss some of the lines, some of the most important lines, in my opinion, from the poem instead of the whole thing. But before we start with that, the poem does require a little bit of context, right? Because she's using these references to Greek mythology, which she loves to do throughout her work. But that doesn't sit with everyone, right? That doesn't connect with every reader. I personally love Greek mythology, and so I'm here today to explain. So, who was Sisyphus, right? Let's start with the title. Sisyphus, and you will have to forgive my drawings. Sisyphus was, eons ago, the founding king of Ephyra. So he is best known for the fact that he cheated death twice. So once he got to the underworld, the king of the underworld told him, "You've done a bad thing, you will be punished." So his punishment was to roll a boulder up a hill for the rest of eternity. And every time he got to the top of the boulder, it would just fall back down. But what does a line mean, right? Because that's the myth. But how does it apply? Imagine Sisyphus happy. So there's a lot of things going on here. The majority of it being irony, because Sisyphus' story is a well-known tragedy, but she tells the reader to imagine him happy. It's a well-known tragedy, so it's giving hope. It's this ironical, beautiful description of a tragic moment becoming something potentially beautiful. From the title, I would like to move on to the first line of the poem, because it is very latent with the last line of the poem. Give me tonight to be inconsolable, so the death drive does not declare. Now there is a cutoff between the first line and the second, which is itself, does not declare itself. I think Seeley is trying here to leave it a little bit vague for the reader. So does not declare what? Later she clarifies itself, but so what is this? What is the tonight, the inconsolable, the death drive? For there's this sense of release that is needed, right? So the speaker here is saying, I need a moment to be myself. I need a moment to let go of all of this hurt, maybe. If you connect it back to Sisyphus, he had to go through all this pain to really realize what he had done was wrong. So she is asking, or he, they, the speaker is asking for just a night, just a moment of release. And the death drive also can be connected back to Sisyphus if you want to look at it that way. Maybe Sisyphus has had enough of his punishment, so he wants to die. He wants death, which is what he cheated out himself out of in the first place. Um, so the death drive does not declare itself. Another really important line in this poem is dogs lick themselves to wound. Allow me this luxury. Give me tonight to cut and salt the open. So what is she talking about here, right? It's almost masochism. She is putting in a lot of descriptions about animals. The dogs licking themselves to wound is not the first. She talks about elephants staying around the tusks, not of their dead companions, not knowing that leaving will lessen the loss. Um, but she in this line is begging. She's almost begging, and she calls it a luxury to get time to feel her pain. So this might be her processing trauma. Um, it might be a situation that she finds herself in. Um, but it is pain because she goes into cutting and salting the open, and she almost wants to make it worse. It's like she wants to get it out of the way. And it's the situation that she wants to feel through it, and it's if it's gonna hurt, it's gonna hurt. Now, the last line that I wanted to discuss is the very last line of the poem, where she says, I promise to be happy tomorrow. And it's this last plea that she is giving the reader. She says, please, I will be happy tomorrow. But the thing with this is, do we trust that she will be? Do we trust that the speaker knows how to be happy? And she puts in the tomorrow. It's not later. She says tomorrow because today, it's implying that today she wants to be miserable. She wants to feel all the ugly feelings. She does. Today is not a day for happiness. So the promise, this last plea, this please, she's on her knees. I will feel happiness, I promise, but not today. And although it is a plea, the way that Seeley writes it, it's almost like an implication that the speaker is going to do it anyway. You know, I'm going to do it anyway, but I promise that tomorrow will be better. And with that, we conclude our dissection and appreciation for Nicole Seeley's writing. She truly has become one of my favorite poets. That is not an exaggeration. She has this mastery over poetry and the way that she expresses things. So stay tuned for the next review of poetry.